As Russia increases its attacks in Ukraine's south and east, defending soldiers on the front lines say they urgently need more ammunition and planes to win the war. While Moscow has at times reportedly been firing a staggering 20,000 artillery shells a day, Ukraine is supposedly firing up to a fraction of this, some 6,000 to 7,000. But at this rate, Ukraine is still using up ammunition far faster than its allies can provide it. NATO defence ministers currently taking part in a two-day meeting in Brussels have been urged by the military alliance chief to ramp up ammunition production, but there is no decision on providing jet fighters.
The salvage operation to retrieve the balloon shot down by the US military earlier this month. These new images show it being dragged onto a boat off South Carolina. US officials said it was being used by China to monitor sensitive military sites, but Beijing insisted it was a weather platform that had blown off course. Investigators say a closer examination of electronic devices attached to the balloon should reveal more about what it was doing. But there are no such clues to the identity of the three additional objects that were brought down in Canada and the US states of Alaska and Michigan between last Friday and Sunday.
It's to India now, where a huge air show is currently underway in the city of Bangalore. Hosted by the Defence Ministry, the 5-day Aero India event is a massive spectacle aimed at closing deals and showing off the best of India's aviation industry. The country has long been one of the world's largest importers of defence equipment, but now it's looking to expand exports too, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi pledging to triple annual defence exports up to $5 billion over the next 2 years.
The Taliban raided an Islamic State hideout in Kabul overnight. According to a Taliban government spokesperson, the raid was said to have targeted Islamic State militants who were responsible for the recent organized attacks in Kabul. Islamic State fighters, including foreign nationals, were also reportedly killed and others arrested during the raid. Light weapons, hand grenades, mines and explosives were confiscated from the hideout. Local residents reported sounds of several explosions and a long gun battle, which lasted for several hours.
Yair Yafrach shows me his most popular gun on sale, an Israeli-made weapon for Israelis, a nod to nationalism at a cost of little over $1,000. But since January's attacks by Palestinians against Israelis, his classes to qualify for arms license are in demand. Yair's clients range from high-profile politicians to settlers living illegally in the occupied West Bank. But now, some ultra-Orthodox Israelis say they have no choice but to arm themselves, even though it contradicts their religious beliefs. And the government hopes to bring in measures to fast-track that process to just 45 days.
The World Health Organization confirmed the first ever outbreak of Marburg disease in Equatorial Guinea, saying that the Ebola-related virus is responsible for at least 9 deaths in the country. The health agency confirmed the epidemic after samples from Equatorial Guinea were sent to a lab in Senegal last week. The government had announced last week that it was investigating the cause of suspected case of hemorrhagic fever in a densely forested eastern region near the borders of Gabon and Cameroon on Africa's central western coast, but said only 3 people had shown light symptoms. The province has now been placed in quarantine.
Now, there are rising concerns over Chinese-made surveillance cameras in the government offices in Australia. Canberra has now removed more than 900 Chinese-made surveillance cameras, intercoms, electronic entry systems and video recorders. An audit last week found that the technology had been installed in more than 250 departments and agencies in Australia. Australia's cybersecurity minister had earlier called Chinese espionage and foreign interference the greatest threat to Australia's way of life. The minister said that all cameras within his department's buildings would be removed, asserting how it was to make sure that the facilities are completely secure.
That gunman's rampage unleashing horror and chaos on the campus of Michigan State University. Tonight, we're learning more about the 3 MSU students killed: junior Ariel Diamond Anderson, sophomore Brian Frazier, and junior Alexandria Verner. The first 911 calls at 8:18 p.m. for shots fired inside Berkey Hall on campus. Authorities identifying the gunman as 43-year-old Anthony Dwayne McCrae. They say he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound after an intense, hours-long manhunt.